thank you, Franz, for your willingness to share with us, with me, your view on the situation. Now, I followed what you have written the last month, and the article about from survival to living. That was also translated to English. But I'm very interested to hear how do you see the situation now, and what's going on, and from your perspective and from IoPT perspective, which maybe is the same.
Okay. IoPT helps me not to get crazy in this situation. Otherwise, I don't know what to do without my knowledge about the IoPT and identity, and what's also included in our idea about health and illnesses. And this is very helpful here, really, to stay healthy in what I feel in the moment is very, very confusing environment. Somehow you feel it's like a crazy environment you live in. So, but maybe I start with the beginning, and how it all started for me, and how I first came into contact with this coronavirus. And at first I thought, yeah, it's a virus. Maybe it's a infectious virus, and it's somehow a natural disaster that happens to us, and we have to take care and do our best to deal with it altogether. It infects every one of us, so it's a good chance to cooperate and to do what's necessary to support each other if somebody is infected and somebody is seriously ill, to help these people. And yeah, this is what I saw in the beginning. But more and more, and I got doubts. I got doubts because some experts that are have a very lot of experience over the years with epidemics, the flu epidemics. They told us, no, it's just a flu. It's just something like a flu. It's not much or less serious than that. And the flu is not. A flu is something serious. It can cause some harm, can cause some lung infections, can cause also people dying from it. So it's something serious, but it's not more serious than it was the years before. And no one listened to these experts. That was the first thing I was wondering. A lot of men with high qualification in different sciences, epidemiology, and also virologists, but nobody did listen to them. The only in Germany, two persons were listened in the official media, and they told us all the same. Oh, it was like a narrative. I would say it's now. Meanwhile, I say there is a SARS-CoV narrative that is like this. It's new. It's novel. It was not here before. It's high infectious. It causes a lot of death, millions of death, and the healthcare system can't deal with it. And so every one of us is also involved in it, even if you're still healthy or you're not a part of the population who is in a high risk. But you have to take care of those who are weak and who are old, elderly people. And though it's also your job to deal with the pandemic. This is what I would call the narrative. Yeah, and also including this narrative that our healthcare system is not able to deal with it. There are too many deaths, too many people, severely ill people, and we have to have all these lung machines to give people support if they're if they are shortly before suffocating, and all this was slowly I realized it's like a story. There's a story that has to be sold, and everybody who had another story to tell, and everybody who has said, no, this story can't be true, he was ignored. He was ignored in the official media here in Germany, and only on the internet, and only on personal platforms and alternative medias, you could find other opinions, other arguments, but it was not in the official TV or not in the official newspapers we have here in Germany. And so my suspicion grew more and more. And then my doubts grew also, because one thing, if you say there's a novel virus, but coronaviruses are known, and SARS corona also is something that's known, and in fact 90% of those who are infected have no symptoms or only minor symptoms and can deal with it. So how can this be a novel thing? Because most of us have, our immune system is able to deal with it. So this was one of the doubts. Why are they always putting the finger on this? It's novel, it's something new, and it was not before. And so, and on the other side, they only did count infections. And but why do you count infections? Because an infection doesn't mean that you are ill or you get severe symptoms. But infections were counted, not those who are have severely problems and in the end maybe have severe problems, but every infection was now something that has to be avoided. And this was for me also putting doubts on me, that I say, this is such a simple model. It's such a simple model, as if there is a virus and there is the illness. And that's not true. That's not true for anything that happens, that there is not a gene and then the outcome of the gene is it's schizophrenia or depression. That is not true. And in many cases, also our ordinary medical thinking is about, here is let's say this gene or this virus, and the outcome is illness. But in many ways, the illnesses are not illnesses, but they are also showing that your immune system is reacting, and your immune system is doing a proper job for you. Yeah. And for example, if you get fever, that is not an illness. Fever is showing that your immune system is doing a good job, and especially with viruses, the fever is very important, because the fever is that kills the viruses and makes the viruses impossible to intrude our cells. And but this was ignored in the whole discussion. It was somehow ignored that we are subjects. That there's a virus, and this virus comes to us and makes us ill, as if it is like an inevitable rule. But I'm a subject, you're a subject, and so every one of us reacts on it. And for some of us, the virus can't intrude. Maybe it comes towards our mouth, it comes towards into our mouth, but it can't go deeper, because our immune system is clever enough to prevent it from going deeper in the throat or going deeper in the lungs. And this also was showing in this epidemic that only those who are already ill and severely ill, who have already cancer, who have already diabetes, who are heavily smokers, who have overweight, that only those had problems dealing with this virus. All others, they had no problems. Yeah? And then I thought, okay, if it's like this, then let's tell the people more about their immune system and how to reinforce, how to strengthen the immune system. What can I do to strengthen my immune system? What can I do in case if there's infection to do something myself in order to deal good with the virus? And then I saw in the newspaper, for example, stories about young men who were not in the high-risk group, like the elderly people from 70 to 80, but a man, for example, in his 40s, and he also got this infection. And then he ended up in intensive care in the hospital. But what did he do? When he was infected and the fever raised up, he took medication to lower the fever, to put it down, and to continue go on. And then he got coughing. And what did he do? He took medication in order to prevent the coughing. Yeah, that means he, from the very beginning, he worked against his immune system. And this was, in my in my perspective, was the reason why he ended up in a hospital. But instead of telling people this, don't do it. If you have the infection, if you have from one moment to the next high fever and shaking, and go into bed, try to raise up your body temperature even more, and this is the way how to deal with it. But no, it was written in this newspaper. You see, everyone can be a victim of the virus. And all this type of storytelling and all this type of producing panic in the population made me even more suspicious. And I said, something's not wrong here. Something's not right here. Something's wrong. There is a hidden agenda behind that has an interest in making this virus, whatever his characteristics are, if he is different from flu viruses or not, it doesn't depend. But there was as if someone wanted to make something out of it, yeah, to have an idea. There's a strategy behind it to produce a pandemic and to make it worldwide away that there is a virus and everyone has to take care and so. And slowly I realized, that behind is the World Health Organization. And slowly I realized the World Health Organization is not a supranational institution that is taking care for the health of all of us on the globe, but it's influenced by interests. It's influenced very, very special by the Bill Gates Foundation. It's influenced by pharmaceutical enterprises, and they are financing it. And they also directing the course of this World Health Organization towards producing a pandemic, or saying now it's necessary to say that we are in a state of pandemic, because pandemie, it's something. It's pan is all, and demic is people, all the people, But all the people are breathing, all the people are eating. Everything is pandemic somehow, So the question is, when do you call something a pandemic? And they changed the definition of pandemic in 2017. They changed it from something must happen that has severe causes towards something must happen as an infection in different countries, without referring to the consequences. So that the mere infection is already seen as dangerous. And this is the basis for what we're doing, we're seeing now, that you just look at the infections, and no correlation and not the output to why is this infection dangerous? And if you see in all these countries where the infections are, you see that it's only dangerous for people who have already illnesses before, and are older people. And there's nearly no one dying in a young age. And it's also not clear if those who are dying is this virus, the coronavirus, the only virus that is is there, or are there other viruses also included? And at the moment, only the coronavirus is tested. There is no test to say, okay, what other viruses do we have additionally? And so this is for me also something, why to focus on a single virus only? And step by step it became clear, and I had discussions and dialogues and informations from many sources, and then in the end it became clear for me when some days ago Bill Gates in the TV had an interview here in Germany, and he said, we only can finish this state of the pandemic if we have a vaccination. This will last as long, the pandemic will last as long as we have this vaccination against the coronavirus. And then we have to vaccine 7 million people all over the globe. Then I said, did I really listen right? What he said now? We have to tolerate this shutdown of the whole societies until someone has researched on this vaccination, and until all of us can be vaccinated. I said, who is he? Who is this guy that he can tell us that this will last so long? The whole shutdown of societies will last until, this vaccination is available. And of course, he is engaged in it. He puts his money in developing a vaccination against the coronavirus and so on. He will make money with it, and he's a shareholder. He has his shares in these pharmaceutical companies. Then I thought, okay, no, this is not, that is crazy. This is unbelievable. That this is really the agenda behind, that somebody has the idea to save the world by vaccinations. And this is some fixed idea he has since many years. And since many years already, there is a attempt of this World Health Organization to make something a pandemic. Yeah, since it was in 2009, it was like this. The flu virus was, they tried to make it a pandemic, and it turned out after a while, no, there's breakdown. And so in the moment, I believe it's also over already. This is, I think this is good news. The good news is that the peak of the infection, of this flu infection or whatever, how the virus is included in that, is over. Yeah, it's through how it normally is. It is through within 1 month. It rises and there's a peak and it goes down. And but the influence that Bill Gates and those who have a lot of money on our governments, and also on our magazines and in the TV broadcastings is very huge. They have a lot of money to influence a lot of people to make this narrative still alive, and so we have to suffer from it in the moment. Yeah, even in Germany, they are not saying no. Okay, let's see. It's the danger is over. We have done our best, and now let's go on to normal life. But they are still thinking it could be that it lasts 1 year, even more, until this virus is completely defeated. Yeah, and of course defeated by vaccinations. And somehow starting to make us believe, okay, maybe if in a moment is over, it will start again in autumn and start again next spring. And even those who are now have been infected and have an immunity against this virus, it will last only half a year or maximum a year, and then you need the vaccination. And there's a story, there's a narrative that is behind it. And so I'm very suspicious. I'm very, very suspicious that this is really a natural disaster, but it's a man-made disaster, what we are living in the moment. And it does so much harm. Yeah? And it's always said we have to save our health system. But if you have a closer look at the health system at this working in the moment, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Everything is concentrated on the corona, and everything else is left out. And if you have any other diseases, you can't go to the hospital. It is all postponed and delayed, and you don't get the help you normally get from the system. So this is typical what I learned from surviving strategies. Surviving strategies tell you they will save you. They will be effective, but in the end, they reproduce the trauma. Yeah. So if it's coming out of surviving strategies was done in a moment, then you can be sure they producing, instead of preventing trauma, they producing trauma. And this is what's done in the moment. There's a lot of people are now, some people are also are committing suicide. A high politician here in Germany some weeks ago committed suicide. And so I'm afraid that those who are producing this scenario in the moment, dealing with worst case scenarios, who are people who are not in their healthy parts. Not the politicians, not Bill Gates, not whoever is trying to make his money out of this can be in his healthy parts. If you are in your healthy parts, you would see what is the benefit of a shutdown and what is the side effects and what is the harm that the shutdown does, and then you would find other solutions. Yeah? And so this is for me a clear sign how much I live in a traumatized societies. I have to tolerate that the people on the government and people in economy and people who are even the people who are scientific experts are also traumatized persons, yeah, with their early traumas. And out of their early traumas, they are, yeah, acting out surviving strategies.
Yeah, to me, when the decision was taken here in Norway, there was no doubt in me that there was a lot of decision taken in fear. Yeah, and of course it has huge consequences for the economy. Even for me running my institute, had to close down. At this moment, everything has to be closed, and also the psychological health of people. There's so much people who are so afraid, they live in fear, and children have been away from school. Nowadays, kindergarten and the youngest children are going back to school here tomorrow, and we'll see. But Franz, there is a question coming in here. May I read it for you?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. It says, it's from Anne-Catherine. I've come to an understanding that it is difference between diabetes 1 and diabetes 2, but diabetes 2 with overweight has been affected. Diabetes 1 not at so much at risk when it is regulated good enough. Only need to watch more carefully because fever affect insulin level, right? ? I get alarmed when hear diabetes, but are calm regarding my 15-year-old son with diabetes 1.
Okay. Yeah, I would say in general, if you have such diseases, what called the normal medical sciences call it the diseases, it's always worse to look at the real reasons and to look at the early trauma situation and not to look at the virus in the outside, but look at your biography of this boy, looking at his biography and finding out why he developed this, what's called a disease, and what is the conflict he is in. Yeah? So I think this is what, in general, I would say, don't look at viruses, don't look at bacteria, just look at yourself. Look at yourself, what in your biography happened that you are not in a good contact with your body, what forced you to dissociate from your body, what forced you to put some trauma energy in some part of your body, yeah? And your body gives you signals. Your body is an indicator for traumatization, and doing IoPT work is the best way of becoming healthy again, instead of looking at virus and how to avoid a virus. This is what I would say in general to this question.
I myself, the first days when this close down happened, I was afraid, and I didn't. What is happening? What's going on? What is this? I had all these questions, And then I decided to do a process for myself online. And I had the intention, Corona. And with this intention, I came into contact with my eye just after birth. And it was such a relief to be in contact with this very, very early trauma that I experienced. And I've known it for years that I was heavily traumatized during birth time. But now I came into contact with another even deeper level in me than I had ever been in contact with before. And then I was not afraid anymore.
Yeah, I did the same. I did the same. I had an intention with I and this SARS-CoV-2 virus, and it was similar. It was I came into contact with a baby inside of me half a year after birth that was nearly dying. He was heating up, he was coughing, he was because of not being breastfed, and being neglected. And this was a very important process also for myself, and coming into contact with this pod, taking this contact close to me and taking it in. And this made me also stronger, even more stronger in this discussion, and to have a clear mind too, and not being panicked.
Yeah.
So, as is with many people, many have now, in a way, the early trauma is triggered by being isolated, by being forced to do something you do not like to do. Is somehow a traumatizing situation in the outside, and this can trigger then our old and early trauma, and this is also a good opportunity to clear something that you wouldn't do because you're not put under such a pressure. And this is maybe somehow the benefit of a crisis, that we are put under pressure, and we are in a way forced to look even more closer to ourselves and find our early trauma.
And also I'm living far away from my loved ones, and now I was not even allowed to go and visit them, and this to keep people separated for such a long time, that had a deep effect on me. And of course I know that this is not healthy, because it's healthy for me to be with the people I love. So
and there was, for me, it was also good that last year I had a severe flu. It was really high fever and coughing and and pain. It was very painful, and skin itching and breath was difficult to breathe. And I did a work for myself on that, and again finding a young part of me who was left alone, who was really, I separated from it. And doing this process then, within 2 days I was healthy again. And this also shows me that we are not dependent on lung infection machines and intense care in hospitals, or most of us are not. There's an option. And the one thing, strengthening our immune system, and the other thing is really, if there is a infection, we can also do work on ourselves. And now also with this, what we see here now online, this option with an online work. If you have the infection, find someone and work it through why you now have these symptoms. This can be very, very.
Like for today, we had the seminar with people from. It was 13 countries represented in the seminar today, from Brazil to Canada to Finland to Norway, Sweden, Germany. It works so fine. So all the work can be done online. But Franz, there is another question here. May I raise it for you?
Yes, please.
It's from Mette. Why do you think what do you think is the reason that so many doctors in Italy have died? They were not ill and not old.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I don't know this statistic from Italy. I only know from Italy that the average death toll in Italy is not higher than the years before. That is one thing. What really happened in these hospitals in Italy, I don't know. I have no figures and facts. And when somebody dies, the question always is, did he die from corona or with corona? And you only can clear this if you make an examination of the death cause. And I don't know if this is made. So in the moment, I really doubt those death polls who are panicking, who are trying to make a panic, to have this pandemic running. Yeah. So it needs really to look at this cases with care. And I'm in the moment, I don't trust the official media any longer. They have lost so many credits. I had credits on them, but now when I see how they work and how it's more propaganda than bringing information and news. So I'm doubting everything that's coming out from that's media channels. That I don't know what your information is about this. Maybe you can go deeper in it and make some research and find out how these figures are really, how valid these figures are really are. I can't tell you.
No. There is a lot of questions coming in here.
Okay.
There's one. Sheila has written, being fearful for one's life is very understandable in this climate when people are dying everywhere. I empower myself by avoiding close contact with other people in general, but I don't feel this is a survival strategy. This is me keeping me safe, and I'm not afraid.
Can't say something to that. If make an intention out of it. If this is something if you want to find out if this is a healthy strategy or surviving strategy, I would just say do an intention work and then you find out, and then you can be sure. Otherwise, it's just your thinking. Yeah, the thinking it could be possible. And the logic of possibility is in a way running in the moment. Yeah, it can be possible. It could be, and how is it really? Yeah, and this is I could say something it's from out of the mind, but I think the only thing that will convince you is if you make a work directly on that. If it is a good healthy strategy, or this is just a surviving strategy coming from past trauma.
Mm. Here is another one from Kirsti. Isn't it also a notion that the environment, the earth, gives us a wake-up call to pay attention to pollution, economy rules, pharmaceutical industry, yes, the struggle for eternal life, fit and 90, and so on. And yeah.
Yes, of course. This is a crisis that bringing us into more reflection and thinking about the points in our life we find important, and everybody has different points, and yeah, think about it and go deeper with it. I'm not so spiritual that I see that the world or the globe, just nature, just tell us something. I'm quite a person who is tries to be as realistic as possible. So I'm not so drawn to into spiritual thinking. Maybe you know it from me. So, but follow your ideas and find out and try to find out something new. Yeah, maybe this is the chance to find out something new that you didn't know before.
Yeah. And from Ingeborg, what do you think about Sweden? I have the impression Sweden is treating this as a real adult in trust and not fear, and also trusts its people.
It seems so. It seems somehow it seems so. Yeah, it's an exception from the panic governments around them, and of course they are a challenge for the others because they don't do it, and the other make the shutdown. And so, of course, but for me, it sounds. I'm not so deep in it. I'm not so deep in the Swedish situation, but yeah, it feels more adult. Yeah, it feels more treating people not as objects that you have to protect, and you have to, and then if they are objects, you have to protect them, and they have to follow them, they have to obey your rules, and so on, treating you like children somehow, but taking you serious as adult persons, and that you have in the end as responsible. And this is for me much more far developed than the other strategies. So I like to see in the end if there's any difference in the outcome between the Swedish, the way of dealing with this infection, and the way of other countries do. I'm really curious in the end. And it shows in the moment. I have seen some figures that there's no difference.
Mm.
That they have the death tolls like the others have too.
Mm.
They are not so high. Yeah, the rate of people dying from this, it's about 0.5, 0.4, 0.1. There's, but not what was said before of the millions of deaths and every death corpse lying in the street. And so that is a story.
Mm. 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 Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see in a couple of years how Sweden comes out in this. And for me personally, I like very much the way they are treating this. And also I see the Swedish news on my television here in Norway. And yeah, for me it's very interesting to follow.
Yeah, and one thing is, for me, when I see official TV, yeah, I get sick. I get disturbed. I get panicked. I get insecure. Yeah, and the only thing that makes me secure again, if I go into the social media, I go into the internet and see the alternative media and getting back into my healthy part again. So, and this is dangerous, because if that is what we surely know, that our immune system reacts on stress, and stress is a consequence of anxieties. If you're anxious, yeah, then also you get angry and aggressive. This reduces the capacities of your immune system, because you are in a fight mode.
Mm.
And if you have to do with illnesses and infections, you have to be in the recovery mode, or you have to go into a recovery mode. Yeah? And so it's the opposite that is helpful, to put the whole society into a fight mode. And some politicians even said we are on war with the virus.
Mm.
And they have the idea to bring the army in to fight against the virus, yeah, and to see the virus is the enemy, and everyone who is not following our rules is an enemy too, yeah, and you are punished and put into prison. And this is putting whole societies in a war mode, yeah, in a fight mode, and this is producing illnesses anyhow. If you're not becoming ill from this virus, you're becoming ill from something else. So this is what's I think it's necessary, and what I try to communicate to those people who listen to me. I say, don't be afraid. You have a perfect immune system. This immune system knows the vaccines that are necessary to protect you, and health comes from inside. And if you do the work with yourself, it's even more strengthens you and provides you with everything you need. And this everything is there you need. And in case, if something went wrong and if you need support, you will find support. Yeah, and you find the proper support. And if you're in contact with yourself, then you can ask other people for the proper support you need. If you give up yourself, if you treat yourself like an object, then others will treat you an object for example, in the medical system. So I want to really, this is what I like to do, is to strengthen people, and also to encourage you, if you never have done it, yeah, take a book and read about your immune system. I didn't do it years ago. So some years ago, I took a book and I learned how fantastic this immune system is, and how many layers it has, and how sophisticated it is, and how quick it is. And yes, so it's really perfect tool for us. And it's good to know this, that we have it inside ourselves, and this is the solution. It's not the vaccination that is the solution. It's our immune system. This is the solution. This is something I found out when I did a process, constellation for knowing a little bit more about this virus. The solution was the immune system, nothing else.
So there is a question in this direction from Ivo. Within IoPT sessions. How do how do I know what is healthy structures and survival structures? Are there indicators that one can know? And maybe you could say something about that.
Yes. Yeah, your surviving strategies are controlling, compensating, ignoring, what else? Fighting, going in a fight. Yeah, for example, this is a list of characteristics of surviving strategy. I've written it in the book, Splits of the Soul and Inner Healing. That is the book where I first was describing our surviving strategies, and yeah, to become aware. And for example, surviving strategies don't go to the roots. They're always in the present moment. They're looking for something in the present moment. They don't go back into your biography. Yeah, because they try to avoid what happened, because they're running away from your trauma. And so this is something you can learn on a cognitive level. Yeah, and in the practical processes, if you do the process, we see if an eye, for example, is a healthy eye, or this eye is not taking care for the split of traumatized part, and is not able to make contact with it, then you can see, oh, this eye, in your intention, I want or something, this eye is not healthy, but this is still in a surviving mode. So it turns out then in the process, and if your therapist is experienced, then he will show you that this is what the difference is, and lead you through the process, that in the end maybe your eye goes out of the surviving strategy and becomes more healthy.
Thank you. I think in most of your books there are good listings of survival strategies, and what is survival strategies, what is trauma strategies, so and healthy structures. Yeah. And then Hella has a question. I am wondering the reason behind the storytelling, and why a handful of people are thinking, wanting to controlling the world with this virus. Do you think the truth can show itself in these fishy times?
There's one thing, yeah, and maybe we focus here on Bill Gates, because he has so much money, he could play golf the whole day. Yeah, and why does he engage anyhow with us and the world, and why does he try to save the world? And whatever I learned about this in IoPT work is, if I want to save the world, I want to save my mother. Yeah, the attempt to save the world is the attempt to come into somehow in a good contact with your mother that you never had. Because for every one of us, the first world we perceive, the first world we are in, is our mother. And so the world for me is clearly, I have never seen it different. So I would really like to do a work with Bill. He would come to me and put his idea into an intention, vaccination, world eye, something like this. And it would clearly show up that this is your mother. And as far as I know from his biography, he has a hard time with his mother. There's a Netflix series about him, and it shows that he was really struggling with his mother. And so I'm suspicious what maybe on the one side he wants to save her, and the other side he wants to kill her, because one of his saving the world ideas is also reduce population. And then question would for me, why does this come together? Yeah, on the one side I want to make people healthier, and then maybe they procreate even more. The other side I want to reduce the population. And yeah, so it would be very interesting. And even of those who Warren Buffett or whoever is engaged in that, or those people who are high rank CIOs of companies, I know some of them, yeah, and I know how split off from themselves they are, how much they are in their head, how much they are isolated somehow, yeah, not in contact with real good relationship with others. They are very competitive, yeah. And so these poor guys and also poor women, they are not on they can't trust themselves, and so they do things that are not good for us. And in a deeper level, I would say, yeah, what we are in here in our societies is a real split between, on the one hand, a crude materialism that is also showing up in medicine. Yeah? This is the body, and not the body, the living body, and not the body with the psyche, and not the body who is a subject, yeah? Just the body. And so there's a crude way of materialism on one hand. We build houses, we have cars, we have this and that, shoes and clothes, and it's pure materialism. On the other side, we are clinging to money as if this is God. Money as a substitute for God. Yeah? In times before our modern economic system came into work, yeah, there was God, and we used, and the governments used the money for worshiping God. But now, the money is the God, and money is this what we are praying to, and we think, oh, if there's increase of money, this is good for us, and what can we do that there's more money and more money and more money, and everything this is done is seen under the perspective how much money it costs and how much money we earn with it. So we have this huge difference between, on the one side, a crude materialism, on the other side, a big illusionary spiritualism somehow, yeah? That money is nothing. Money is just a convention. Money is a belief, that you believe something is value, that you believe that if you have a bank account and there's a 1.0000, this is something more than 1.00, yeah? And if a green paper is more valuable than a red paper, it's maybe even if it's bigger, but otherwise it's more value. So it's crazy, yeah? As if in somehow we submit ourselves to an idea that has no value in itself. It's pure quantity. And for this pure quantity, we destroy the universe. We destroy the universe. We destroy our earth. We spoil our water. We spoil our earth. We do harm to each other. Yeah. And this is something we are in the moment. Yeah. And what I feel is, in a deeper level, is necessary to solve the problem is to bring it together, to bring materialism and mental things together, and only with our emotions they can connect. This is what one a very important factor is, that what I know from IoPT work is that focusing on us means focusing on our body, focusing on the material side of the body, on the energetic side of the body, and the informational side of the body, and then you come into reality. Yeah? This is where reality becomes real. a real reality, and not something that is split in between. Here's my body, here's my mind, and they do not fit together. And you sacrifice your body and the body of others for the idea of making money. Now, this is somehow it's my vision also with IoPT work, that if we bring it together again, the different factors, the mental side, the material side, and the mental side, we bring it together, then we are in reality. Then we are in reality again, and then we can deal with reality in a quite a different way, in just a different way, in a more constructive way than we do it in the moment.
Mm. And our immune system gets healthier.
Yes, it does. Anyhow, it does its job as good as possible. If we let the immune system the job, it does it. If we do not intervene from outside and prevent the immune system to do what it can do, it will do.
Yeah. Franz, it's coming to an end for the time schedule we had put up.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to say something just as a closing of this talk.
Yes, I said many things. I said, take a book and learn more about your immune system. Trust in yourself, and spread good ideas to others, and don't withdraw in anxious way, but engage in this discussion. I do in the moment. I learn a lot. I come into contact with very interesting people too. They come to me and I come to them. And I'm now in the moment I'm writing a book also about this. I have already written more than 100 pages already, and maybe half a year it can be out. So this is the way I'm doing with this. And maybe it's similar for you, that you take something positive out of this crisis and share it with others. Share it with others. Don't withdraw, but go out and go into dialogue and go into discussions. It's a chance for personal growth also.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Franz. And here is a lot of thank you to you from the people listening. And so take care and go on with your super interesting work.
Okay. Thank you, Marta, for giving me these opportunities for this talk with you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.